as I said before, no question, 2025 is looking to be the year of the all-in-one functional trainer, or at least the squat rack plus functional trainer, however you want to make this definition. Set up and build. A lot of people are looking for these types of things or upgrading them or trying to find something at an entry-level budget price, of which this product in particular, the Mikolo Anubis 2.0, I think is, at this point in time, based on what I'm seeing, the winner of the 3x3 1-inch hole, moderate budget-ish territory all-in-one trainer, all things considered. Correct me down below if there's anything else I'm missing though, for sure. There's definitely cheaper ones out there, but not the ones that have the 3x3 option 1-inch holes. And again, that's only for the sake if you want to add on other off-brand attachments and have something that's also fairly rock solid as well. What I'm going to do in this video is similar to what I've done in past videos, and I gotta say, I believe I've done 5, not including this one, or I've had racks or setups at other people's houses. And what I like about that, one, they get a great product. Two, I gotta say also, I usually almost never get any kind of a kickback or anything like that for these videos, whatever. I'm also not flipping it, so generally aren't gonna make any money from this. But I like that they get a free product. It's someone who actually is gonna use it. And all these people I have access to then go ahead and actually follow up and see how the machine's actually faring. And if it does mess up or there's any issues, I can pin it down below. And I probably will do a follow-up on this, but all the racks I've covered in the past are still going strong. So I think that should say something about this kind of budget rack category just in and of itself. Now, the guy you're gonna see in this video is my buddy Chance, and why I particularly chose this rack, because I was kind of highly selected. He was in the hunt for something. He is a new parent. He's just like a lot of us who are slowly transitioning from the gym into the home gym. I shouldn't say transition. He actually will explain this. He's gone 8 months not working out. He has a long history of working out. He's very disciplined. Great track record. He's just been very busy with the sake of just life, so I knew this would actually help him out. But also, more importantly, he has a history of working in commercial gyms as a manager, so he's used to kind of setting up, fixing machines, and he's been up close, and also kind of a stickler, as you'll kind of learn. He's just kind of he's a self-proclaimed nerd, as you guys will see in this video. He's very into certain components and making sure they fit with him and his confines. So this particular rack, I think, fits the dimensions. I think it's gonna grow with him. And I think it's also, hopefully, will kind of handle the weight he's going to be throwing at it. So this is why I thought this checks all the boxes for him and why I selected him. So I will get into that here in this video, guys. I'll put some timestamps down below. I'll give you a follow-up at the end of the video. If you guys like this, find this all helpful, please like, share, subscribe. The Black Friday page is continuing to be updated, of which I actually threw this brand on there as well, because this is part of their Black Friday deal. And as of right now, I can't see anything else that is in that 1-inch hole, 3x3 territory that is at this price point with the discount. So this might be the perfect product for you, but we'll see how I feel about it at the end here. I'm gonna have Chance lay it out very thick about what he thinks about this machine after using it for about, like you say, 2-3 weeks?
It's been 2 weeks now.
2 weeks, okay. And what's great about this is I'll pin a comment down below. He's gonna be using this. He was very selective, not that selective, but he knew he's looking for some sort of machine, just had a baby. He had a long history of working out. How many years have you been working out?
Recreationally, about 20 years.
Yeah, and he's also very serious, very particular when it comes down to programming, supplements, all that stuff. So if you know Chance, that's his personality. So he's very particular, all I have to say. So when I had to give him some sort of machine that I was selecting for him, I wanted to find something that would check all the boxes, and I think this thing does it. We're going to see if it does. If it doesn't, he can do whatever he wants with it. So that's what we're going to give you guys, honest feedback, real world feedback from somebody who's not just I don't call yourself a gym nerd, but definitely a workout nerd. And he's kind of a stickler for equipment. Like I said, he's managed gyms for what? How many years were you doing that?
I managed gyms for about 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. So he's not someone who's just in the game. So I thought he'd be a perfect person to do this review for. Also great that he just had was it your first baby?
Yep, first baby. She's going to be a year old.
Okay, and this is hopefully game changing in the sense that this is great for a real world example of a home gym hopefully working for somebody, because prior to this, what was kind of happening? What was like your days and nights and all that stuff?
So I've been off the gym for about 8 months, which is unlike me. So again, before that, I was training usually 4 or 5 days a week. And then there was a time period that I was training for 6 days a week with 1 day off. So becoming a father, I took some time away so I could really spend some time with the little one and with my wife during that time period. And now I wanted to get back in and get healthy again and obviously be the best dad that I can be.
Awesome. And Chance is a strong dude. So even though he's saying he's getting back into it, I know he's a strong dude. He's also a tall dude. How tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3". So this had to hit all those dimensions too. So we're going to get into that. So we'll just jump right into it.
Initial thoughts, I've really enjoyed this actually. So for me, I needed something that was going to fit my space, as well as obviously fit my height. So being 6'3", and also not having the tallest ceilings, I needed to make sure that I could have something that was going to be able to give me, one, full range of motion, and two, be able to hold up to something a little bit heavier. So really like the build on this. The 12 gauge seal is really nice. Again, I was in a gym atmosphere for 10 years, put together a lot of equipment, seen some really light grade steel, something that's not going to be able to hold up to the punishment. This is definitely a little bit heavier. I also really like seeing the 2 inchers here, because the big thing is you can use about any type of attachment that's on the market, and it's not literally stuck to where you're only purchasing from one company, which shows a lot of trust and again, I really enjoy that. So weight stacks have been nice, 170 pounds 2 to 1. Still, again, I'm going to be into some of those movements that it's going to be a little bit light, but there is an ability to add on to those weight stacks. I know Mikolo does a good job of offering that as well. With the overall run up, the attachments, it's again nice to have something be able to hang on the back end. Gets it out of my floor space because I don't have a ton of extra floor space here, as well as I do have a 1-year-old, so getting it up off the floor away from her is also very nice. So it's visually appealing to the eye as well. Again, I really like the little light touches here or there. The branding is not in your face. It's definitely something that's there, but again, it's not smack dab all over everything, and it is clean. Touching base on the height of the machine, I know, again, I was kind of a stickler with wanting different things. There are a lot of units that, again, because of my limited room here, I love doing pull-ups. Pull-ups are a big thing for me. A lot of the units run their bar across their top bar. With actually running the cables across the top, it actually gives enough headspace for me to actually do a pull-up. So for me, I can't go all the way to my chin, but at least or to my chest, but I can at least go to my nose, which is great. The J hooks are heavy. They, again, can run on anything here, and they have nice little secure attachments, making sure it doesn't have any wiggle space. So it's not going to go anywhere. The nice thing is, I do like this little touch here with the vinyl that is in here. It secures the bar. You actually can see some of the knurling from me using it throughout the last couple of weeks. I've always been a fan of having a little more aggressive of a hook, but there is enough here to where you don't have to worry about a bounce back or anything like that. So aluminum pulleys are nice. I honestly, to tell you the truth, compared to some of the nylon, they're smooth. Again, this machine is very smooth. I can't tell a difference between the 2 different types of pulleys. Obviously, I've used some old school gym equipment from back in the day, and it wasn't always the pulley that was causing tension or causing, again, the problem of being smooth, quote unquote. This is, again, a very smooth piece of equipment. I have nothing to grade it off of when it comes to vinyl versus that, so no concessions for one or the other. I just do know that this machine is smooth. So the one complaint I do have with the pulley system, I'm tall, but again, running managing gyms for quite a while, I know that other people might run into this problem. Me being tall, I'm not gonna run into this, but those not as tall as me might run into an issue with the height stopping. Again, that's the lowest the actual unit can go, just the way that it's set up. Not a problem for me. Again, everything, if I'm trying to do a curl or anything like that, or anything bent over, I've still got full range of motion being a little bit higher, but I have a friend of mine that is a little bit shorter. That range of motion gets stopped down at the bottom to where he can't get full lockout down at the bottom if he'd like to. He kind of gets handcuffed. Trolleys work well. We'll see over time here if I need to grease or oil. That's the only thing I can see when it actually comes to this, but right now they worked really smooth. Transition nice. There's no lockout issues or anything, so there's no extra give that I have to worry about. That little bump, yeah, just a little bump.
I can see some people get.
Yeah, we can talk about that. It's only on certain movements, I noticed. Yeah, overall assembly took me and one of my friends about 3 hours to do the whole assembly. I put together a lot of units. Everything that I did have, unfortunately, again, fortunately, this is very, very large grade on our bolts and our nuts. Unfortunately, for the fact that I did not have a large enough ratchet for myself, that was going to be something I could actually use on my on my drill. So unfortunately, I had to do everything by hand, so it took us a little bit longer doing it by hand. But assembly was pretty simple. Again, it's not a one-person project by any means. you definitely need 2 people, and hopefully your buddy or friend is a little bit stronger. Some of the parts that could actually be with the weight stack, or again, some of the whole unit parts, you're gonna need a little bit of strength to put it together. We ran into one little thing that, again, I didn't think about when I was doing it, but running the actual cable system up top. So the bolts are actually connected to our flywheels that are in there. So you, when you're trying to run the cable through the machine, you gotta make sure that you don't completely pull out a bolt, or those will drop the flywheels, and then you have to try to fish them back through. You only wanna remove the nut on the one side to be able to actually pull off this face to be able to run that cable through. Outside of that, the cable was pretty simple to run through. It's pretty simple to attach. I've run into some units, putting them up in old gyms that you had to fish for hours to try to get the cable through. But again, outside of that one little problem, everything else was pretty simple. But we got a landmine as well as a holder for our barbell. Keeps it, again, far enough away from the wall that I don't have to worry about dinging anything. Very secure. Again, attaches into one of the large bolts.
It just kind of sits at the bottom, huh?
Yep, so it sits down there, it attaches all the way through, it's got a hard bottom on it, so there's nothing coming all the way through. Springs are pretty heavy. The rubber stoppers were actually very nice compared to some units that I've seen that I could easily see tearing up. That's actually pretty stiff rubber. So landmine, it articulates at many degrees depending on what your need and necessity is. So I have not run into any issues. I've hit it from multiple different angles down here. So we got multiple attachments that came with the unit. We've got one here that is, again, your double cable pulley system. It's just a straight bar that can attach to both cables. Has worked great. I had one little issue with already seeing a little bit of rusting. I have not sweat all over it or had any problems with spilling on it. So already seen a little bit of rusting. I've already cleaned it up with a hard Brillo pad just to keep that smooth. I have not had anything issue-wise with the lat pull-down bar at all. A little bit lighter than what I'm used to, so very light bar, but again, that also benefits for not pulling the weight stack down on individuals. The rope is actually one of the better ropes that I've seen that comes with equipment. It's not a cheap rope that, again, tears up too easily. I use rope on a lot of different stuff, so it, again, nice quality rope. Landmine T-bar row attachment has been very nice. Knurling is actually good and aggressive. I enjoy that. So I'm not getting any slip on some of the heavier T-bar rows. Handles look good. I could see a problem later in the future just with the stitching underneath. But again, that's going to be wear and tear later on. So again, knurlings are very aggressive, which I love. And then just a little ankle band, nothing too crazy there. So you've got an attachment that works a couple different ways. Obviously, knee pad for lat pull down. And then that does convert to something flat to put your feet against for you to be able to do any type of, again, row off cable machine.
See, there's a screw missing there.
It does. It came, so that actually did not have the full nut head on top. I actually took it off because it was not secured. So that was broken process. And that's just plastic from the covering. It's
actually, when you talk about this, it's pretty dense.
Yeah, no. I've been pretty pleased with it so far. So I've only used it a couple times because I'm still getting a bench acquired in here, but the actual times that I have used it, it's secure, it's stable. I haven't had any issues with it. It converts pretty easily. Yeah, so we got our extension arms for our rack here for all of our safety purposes. Made of same grade steel. Everything is very solid. Again, same thing. I love the little bushing and padding that we have here. Very nice. A little bit of branding on the other side. Again, not too aggressive in your face. And then you got some extra arms to actually be able to use depending on what heights you want, that just give that extra support and stability instead of it just being one free hanging. And then the last little bit of piece they did so we don't have this extra jiggle is we've got extra attachment on the bottom to just secure that in place. And again, this is just used just for that extra bit of support to where if you come down hard on something, it's not going anywhere. I have done some rows and cleans and just tested it a little bit. You can see a couple marks on there just to, again, check bounce back and things like that, and it's held up on that end. So you've got a little bit of spacing in there. Like I said, you can see that it wants to pitch down to the bottom. So
with is one, I think for Chance's space, this is really perfect. These dimensions are perfect. And other companies, of course, make dimensions similar. The 12 gauge steel, I think, is strong enough for everything Chance can throw at it. But if Chance, again, we'll get into, he's going to throw in some, definitely some weight and try and beat this thing up. If he does break it, we'll pin a comment down below how this thing kind of has lasted. But I think for the attachments they give you, it's nothing like crazy. But I will say, compared to stuff in this price market, it is better built by a couple degrees. Even something as simple as this landmine attachment. I think this actually tells the story of the whole thing, because other things that are in this price range, or maybe a little bit cheaper, you get something that's kind of super flimsy. This is actually a little more heavier metal, and it's knurled. Again, nothing crazy to write home about. But I would say as a whole, it's a good reflection of this machine, where the machine is for aluminum pulleys, the 3x3 1-inch holes. Again, it's not 11, it's 12. I think that's totally normal for most people. The stuff they give with you, the footprint, and I think the price point, it's good. And also you got the rollers and the trolleys. That's another big thing we didn't really highlight as much. We showed it, but some places are just using plastic. And again, you got subtle touches and knurl here. Top pulley cable system. Biggest thing I think is going to be, especially for Chance being a strong dude, is not having that top pull, really just for back. And because the 2-to-1 and linking that 1-to-1, which is a lot of functional trainers are going to have that issue. We can get some creative rigs. Of course, you could use this long bar and make it, but that gets a little awkward. You can get some rollers to anchor your feet into, but biggest downside would be that you can make some connector points, but for what they give you, especially with that seated knee holder foot placement pad, it's pretty much, I hate to say it, it's kind of worthless for someone like Chance, because he's just going to max it out like day one. He already did.
To wrap this thing up, I will give you guys some summary points, and I might repeat myself, but also have some other thoughts on the matter. But I also want to give you guys some comparisons and all things kind of considered. So first thing I do want to say is just some summary bullet points, that with the Anubis, the price right now, we'll just say this also, it is sitting at $2208 with their Black Friday sale right now, which if you look at all these different all-in-one trainers, especially in the budget category that has a functional trainer integrated rack or is doing all the things this is doing, they're all trying to compete with price point. Now this has the advantages I keep saying the whole time, and I'll probably say it one more time. I know people are getting sick of saying this, but if you're looking for that 3x3 1-inch hole, this is also 12 gauge steel, so a little bit, tiny bit lower grade than the 11 gauge steel, but functionally I think it's pretty much all there. I haven't found anything else that's in this price point that's giving you guys all this stuff. And they also do have the Anubis 1.0, but the problem with that is it has the 5/8 holes going in on the side. So I think if I'm really kind of trying to put the 3x3 thing in a highlight with the 1-inch holes, the 2.0 is the one you're gonna wanna go with, because I think you probably would regret that. At least I personally would. And it's great that they did make this upgrade. There's some other subtle things they actually added to this. I shouldn't say subtle, some other quality of life features, but that would be the biggest difference, practical difference for me at least. I do stand true with what I just said, that if you are just someone looking for a 3x3 rack where you can bench, squat, deadlift in a compact footprint, and you want the cable integration for some accessory stuff, you can definitely do all of that. The only cumbersome nature is just rigging the top and low setting for things like lat pull downs and seated rows. Now they do give you that little attachment, which is definitely cool in its own right, and some other companies do not give you that. The downside is functionally, unless I'm missing out on something, it's not going to work out too well on one stack, since it's a 2-to-1 ratio, and now that weight, that 175 weight is going to be cut in half. So yes, you can add a gym pin, throw some extra weight plates on there, so that is definitely another option there as well. One thing I failed to mention in this video is, it's kind of subtle, is that the lat pull down attachment has holes on the lateral portion of it. So you could go ahead and actually join those carabiner clips. It might be a little more awkward, but they make other wider attachments. So as I told my friend Chance, off recording possibly in this video, that if you want to do straight heavy lat pull downs, you can still definitely do that. You got to go ahead and get yourself some sort of a leg holder that's going to go across. Again, it kind of defeats the purpose of them including their leg holder. So if anything, I would tell them that would be a better thing to include, in my personal opinion, again, unless I'm missing something very obvious. Now, comparing this to the competition, I'm going to go to the most popular functional trainer rack that does something very similar, which would be the Force USA one. And there's pros and cons in this. So this is another $1,000 plus more than the actual Mikolo 2.0 Anubis here. They are giving you a free barbell. At this point in time, you are getting the articulating arms, but I would say functionally it's all there. Yes, as a heavier weight stack, this is going to 200 pounds at starting, but it's still a 2-to-1 ratio. Again, you can join them together. That does give you more attachments. I would say the Force USA attachments are a little bit better quality. However, they are not giving you, I believe, and I didn't see it updated, I thought it was, they are not giving you the barbell holder, which I think definitely needs to go in there, but I thought they were going to be updating that soon. That's based on what they told me. And I'm also not seeing any kind of a spotter arm. So The functional stuff that actually comes with the rack that I think you'd most likely use as far as using this for a squat rack and all the barbell stuff, especially the fact that Force USA is coming with the barbell, you're actually getting more of that with the Mikolo. And I have to emphasize the fact, guys, I'm likely going to make absolutely zero off the Mikolo. So as far as a financial standpoint, it doesn't behoove me to actually point that out. All those things considered, when you do compare the Mikolo and what it has going for it compared to what is up there as one of the top tier, if not one of the most popular functional trainer racks out there right now, I actually don't think it's a big sacrifice. Also, as another subtle reminder, I forgot to mention this, the Mikolo actually has a couple things that went out over this Force USA one. The fact that it actually does have trolleys. It does have the aluminum pulleys, so you have that going for it. It's also still relatively compact. So Force USA always likes to say there's a lot of copycats out there. This being maybe a copycat, at least they got some good inspiration from it. I just think it is definitely competitive. And at the end of the day, you guys, the consumers, are the ones who's really winning out this year. I'm sure next year stuff will even get more competitive. So if you're looking to get an all-in-one trainer, functional trainer rack that is a simplistic build, minimal setup, it's gonna still open up windows and doors for you. This for sure is gonna be a top contender. I don't really have a whole much else to say about it other than if anything goes wrong and this thing breaks or there's issues with it, I will pin a comment down below. My buddy Chance is putting it through the ringer. He is going to be using it religiously. He's been using it ever since. If you found this video at all helpful, useful, have any questions, please let me know down below. Like, share, subscribe. I will link this product down below if you guys do want to pick this up. Really help support me in the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next video.